Welcome to the InfoWars Nightly News. I'm Gigi Arnetta on this Friday, September 27th. Here's what tops our news.
Tonight, the FBI has been using surveillance drones domestically since 2006. Then, veteran journalist Seymour Hersh says we need authentic journalists who will speak truth to power. And the risks of nuclear power and what you can do to protect yourself. All that and more on tonight's InfoWars Nightly News.
Seymour Hersh says that the bin Laden raid was one big lie. Seymour Hersh has got some extreme ideas on how to fix journalism, close down the news bureaus of NBC and ABC, sack 90% of editors in publishing, and get back to the fundamental job of journalists, which, he says, is to be an outsider. Hersh is writing a book about national security and has devoted a chapter to the bin Laden killing. Nothing's been done about that story. It's one big lie. Not one word of it is true, he says, of the dramatic U.S. Navy SEALs raid in 2011. He says the Obama administration lies systematically, and the Republic's in trouble, he says. We lie about everything. Lying has become the staple, and he implores journalists to do something about it. That's why authentic news like InfoWars and the Drudge Report is so important, and it's important for you to support us and stay away from the lamestream media. Well, Senator Tom Harkin says that politics have reached Civil War levels.
And perhaps they feel that their minority, which is so imbued with this passion of theirs, this ideology, this rigidness of ideology of theirs, it's dangerous. It's very dangerous. I believe, Mr. President, we are at one of the most dangerous points in our history right now. Every bit as dangerous as the breakup of the Union before the Civil War.
So Senator Tom Harkin kept saying that it was very dangerous. It sounds familiar. Sounds like Harry Reid saying that the Tea Party were anarchists.
Madam President, we have a situation where this country has been driven by the Tea Party for the last number of years. When I was in school, I studied government, and I learned about the anarchists. Now, they were different than the Tea Party because they were violent, but they were anarchists because they did not believe in government at any level, and they acknowledged it. The Tea Party kind of hides that. They don't say we're against government. That's what it all amounts to. They're not doing physically destructive things to buildings and people, but they are doing everything they can to throw a monkey wrench into any form of government, whether it's local, whether it's state or federal government. That's what it's all about.
So it's been a long time since we've seen this much action out there. And he says that government is inherently good. Well, I think the Tea Party is saying that too much government is not so good. So let me get this right. If you don't like what's going on in D.C., you blame the other guy. You resort to that. And then the reality here, folks, is that the government is not really shutting down. There's a work stoppage, and it's happened 18 times in history. And the government is still here, and we're okay. So I think it's all right to just not have the fat cat bureaucrats working for a little while. I mean, how much do they work anyway? So, Harry Reid, is this the kind of work that you're trying to keep going? You don't want a work stoppage because you need to clamor back and forth about the debt. Let's see, in 2006, you railed against the debt, but now you're saying that we have to raise the debt.
How can the Republican majority in this Congress explain to their constituents that trillions of dollars of new debt is good for our economy? How can they explain that they think it's fair to force our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren to finance this debt through higher taxes? That's what it'll have to be.
So Harry Reid clamors for a debt increase now, but in 2006, he was against it.
I don't know what they have to say. It makes no difference anyway. Whatever it is, I'm against it. No matter what it is or who commenced it, I'm against it.
Senate defeats Cruz filibuster, which means Obamacare will pass. But Senator Mike Lee, says the battle's not over. He said this vote is not the end. It's not even the beginning of the end. It's the end of the beginning. The American people will always have the final word. Well, let's just hope that's the case here, because it's super important that if we're going to put Obamacare through the system, that it's done right. And right now, it's not really that good. It seems to be costing a lot of people more money than they planned on paying on their insurance. And you can go to Infowars.com to keep up with that, because we are covering that daily. It's an ever-changing story. So we're going to go to Google. Google is at it again. A U.S. judge allows a lawsuit against Google for invading your email. They are so nosy. A federal judge on Thursday refused to dismiss most of a lawsuit against Google Inc. over allegations the company improperly scanned the content of customers' emails in order to place ads. She rejected Google's argument that its users had consented to having their email read for the purposes of targeted advertising. Nothing in the policy suggests that Google intercepts email communication in transit between users. And in fact, the policies obscure Google's intent to engage in such interceptions, the judge wrote. And there's been some buzz on the internet. You might have seen my report on FEMA Region 3 recently. And today there's more buzz. It seems that the Snopes has actually picked up on the fact that there's been some FEMA Region 3 reports that they might do something upcoming here somewhere near October 1st. But of course, Snopes says it's false. And, you know, you can trust them, because they also said that Obama's birth certificate was real and that Nancy Pelosi was really sweet. And I'm sure there's a whole list of other things that they've written. So you can definitely believe Snopes. And you can believe the fact that there aren't any drones. Well, no, that's not true. There's a watchdog agency that actually said that the FBI has been using drones since 2006. Operating with almost no public notice, the FBI has spent more than $3 million to operate a fleet of small drone aircraft in domestic investigations, according to a report released Thursday by a federal watchdog agency. Mueller, who retired September 4th, said the Bureau was in the initial stages of writing privacy policies, so agencies flying the unmanned aircraft would avoid improper surveillance of Americans. But the auditors determined that the FBI had not addressed the danger of violating privacy rights. The U.S. says that Iran has hacked into the U.S. Navy computers. U.S. officials said Iran hacked unclassified Navy computers in recent weeks in an escalation of Iranian cyber intrusions targeting the U.S. military. The allegations come as the Obama administration ramps up talks with Iran over its nuclear program, show the depth and complexity of long-standing tensions between Washington and Tehran. The allegations would mark one of the most serious infiltrations of the U.S. government computer systems by Iran. Previously, Iranian-backed infiltration and surveillance efforts have targeted U.S. banks and computer networks running energy companies. Current and former officials said they've done that. Iran-U.S. talks are seen as a good start. The U.S. and Iran held their highest-level talks in 36 years on Thursday, in what some officials present described as a substantial meeting over Tehran's disputed nuclear program. British Foreign Secretary William Hague said the meeting was a good start. Now, Israeli officials viewed the prospects of talks between Iran and UN powers skeptically, regarding Mr. Rouhani as an advocate for nuclear development and warning the West against being cheated. Some Israelis saw his stance as a payoff of years of painstaking economic sanctions put into place by the U.S. and its allies. So apparently some are saying that it's working, and we all hope that something will change there. So right here on InfoWars, we actually have a doctor who revealed a solution to protecting yourself against any of this radiation. Dr. Edward Group was actually here and spoke with Alex about Survival Shield, which is going to be on the InfoWars Life page, which is part of the InfoWars store. It's our new site, InfoWarsLife.com, and you have to have some protection against radiation. And the iodine is really good, actually, to help you burn fat. For those of you who are into working out, you might want to check out the story. Go to Infowars.com. You can read more about the nascent iodine. I know some of our fellow coworkers here have been trying it, so we'll see what the results are. Okay, now Lloyd Chapman's coming up, so you have to stick around till after the break because it's a great interview, and it is the anniversary of the Obama phone lady. We have an interview with Andrew, who is the actual filmmaker who shot the video and discovered the Obama phone lady.
The Alex Jones channel is the official page of the Info War. But don't miss what's happening on our other channels. The Info Warrior, with the week's best videos. Prison Planet Live, where Paul Joseph Watson gives his expert analysis. And keep up with the rest of the Info Wars crew on our other pages. All of our videos are available to repost for educational purposes. See the sidebar of the Alex Jones channel for the subscription links. And remember, you can always find our videos in the highest quality by becoming a member of PrisonPlanet.tv.
Are we choosing our own destiny, or has it been pre-selected for us?
As we've moved through history, every great leader has had to understand the potential of information.
Billions of dollars have been spent privately and publicly looking at how to tap into your psyche.
From compulsory state education to the Hollywood media brainwashing machine, we are kept in perpetual bondage to the ideas that shape our actions.
When somebody obscures that feedback loop between you observing and testing it out and verifying it, they can take total control of your awareness.
All of this is happening so fast, you need to be ahead of the game.
How to engineer the opinion of the American people so that they would not only endorse but demand a war.
Oh, there's another one. Another plane just hit.
State of Mind, because there's a war on for your mind. Get your copy of State of Mind, the movie, at Infowars.com. And remember, every order at InfoWarsStore.com receives a free citizen rulebook.
Which, he says, is to be an outsider. Hersh is writing a book about national security and has devoted a chapter to the bin Laden killing. Nothing's been done about that story. It's one big lie. Not one word of it is true, he says, of the dramatic U.S. Navy SEALs raid in 2011. Welcome to the InfoWars Nightly News. I'm Gigi Arnetta on this Friday, September 27th. Here's what tops our news.
Tonight, the FBI has been using surveillance drones domestically since 2006. Then, veteran journalist Seymour Hersh says we need authentic journalists who will speak truth to power. And the risks of nuclear.
He says the Obama administration lies systematically, and the Republic's in trouble, he says. We lie about everything. Lying has become the staple, and he implores journalists to do something about it. That's why authentic news like InfoWars and the Drudge Report is so important, and it's important for you to support
power and what you can do to protect yourself. All that and more on tonight's InfoWars Nightly News.
Seymour Hersh says that the bin Laden raid was one big lie. Seymour Hersh has got some extreme ideas on how to fix journalism, close down the news bureaus of NBC and ABC, sack 90% of editors and publishing, and get back to the fundamental job of journalists.